Hello, crafty people. Thank you for joining me for my Thursday night craft along. Um, I had actually let's tilt that down so you can actually see stuff. I didn't really have a whole lot of time to prepare today because I came home from physio and I was absolutely exhausted. Not a big deal. I know exactly what I was going to do from the very first second I saw this idea, and it's not a new idea to me. I've played with it before. We are going to be playing with scraps. So Bermuda Bay matches my shirt tonight. Has kind of been my go-to color for the last little while. So I designed some cards this week and then, or last week I think, and I changed my mind and I ended up cutting about 1/4 of an inch off. So I had all of these lovely, already embossed strips that I needed to figure out something to do with them. So I also had some little scraps from this one is Artistry Blooms. It's the blue kind of Bermuda Bay color, and also some of this lovely paper that is available this month while supplies last, from the new butterfly bouquet paper. This is what the full sheet of this one looks like, and it's got the butterflies on the other side. And I had some of the die cut butterflies, so I will be using the coordinating color of that one as well. I haven't decided if I'm going to be using bling yet or not, so let's get started. I did post the supply list on my Facebook page earlier today. If you haven't seen it, this video will be up shortly after my live so that you can check it out. You are going to need one 4x4 piece of whatever color. This is just, I keep an off-brand of cardstock that I like to use when I'm experimenting with stuff. Copy paper will work. It doesn't really matter. You're not going to see this piece. And a coordinating card base. I'm just going to do it straight on the Bermuda Bay. You could cut just a 4 1/4 by 5.5 card front and then attach it to the base if you wanted to. I'm just using this because it was close to my work surface. And I've done the bold folder across. I'm going to be using my Stampin' Seal because you're going to need quite a bit of adhesive for this one. I've also got my trimmer close by. Birthdays, huge birthdays in the next couple of months. So no surprise, birthday card tonight. And I'm going to be using Bermuda Bay ink as well. So the chat is live. If you have any questions at all, or if you just want to say hi, pop up on the chat and I will reply as I can. I've also haven't 100% decided if I'm going to use them, dimensionals. And yeah, so let's get started. I'm just going to tilt down so you can see the state of my desk. I really need to clean my craft room. I'm pretty sure I say that almost every single week. So actually, I'm just going to take a piece of the Bermuda Bay so you can just see what I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to take my adhesive and run it. You can also use just glue for this one if you wanted to. And the way that you run the paper strips really truly doesn't matter. It all depends on the way that you want your card to look. I played with just horizontal stripes, but for this one, I'm going to change it up a little bit and I'm going to go diagonal. Now, all of my strips are 1/4 of an inch wide by varying lengths. Get my hand unstuck from here. So they're about anywhere from 4 inches to 5 1/4, 5.5, depending on which side I cut them from. And then you're just going to take your strips and you're going to just alternate them. Now, it doesn't matter if you go a little bit over. Whoops. It's not quite enough adhesive right there on the edge, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. So I like to start corner And then I'm just going to rip it so that I get a little bit more mileage out of my strips. And then it doesn't matter what this is going to look like after, because all you're going to do is take your paper trimmer and you're going to cut the excess. So I'm going to kind of alternate it. This process is a little tedious, but once you get going, you'll really start to fly. And you're just going to want to make sure that it goes straight across each side. Get it as close as you can. Actually, I think I'm going to do that one a little bit later. So you can do a couple of the same. You can alternate the sides of the paper, whatever strikes your fancy. And then when you're finished with it as well, if you want to, you can run it through the embossing machine and just give it a little bit of texture and pizzazz that way as well. The Subtles embossing folder is one of my absolute favorites. It just gives it sort of a very soft texture, just enough that it'll give the card a little bit more interest, but it doesn't detract away from what you're creating. And this embossing folder that I used for the card that I made the other day was the old paper, which is another one that is really, really lovely. And I haven't used as much as I should. So yeah, where am I with this one? Okay. Just going to keep going. I think I should be good for the most part. Okay, I'm going to start to need a few longer pieces with this one now because I'm getting closer to the diagonal. And oops. And this is perfect for any experience level. You definitely don't need to have a whole lot of crafting experience because you're basically just cutting and gluing and sticking. And I love that crafters of any age group can create amazing cards fairly easily. Okay, that one's a little too short for this side, so I'll grab one of these guys. And really, the rule of thumb that I like to follow is just to make sure that you don't have two of the same touching. But it's your creation. You need to be happy with it. And just kind of go with the flow and see what happens. Okay, I think I might need, there we go. Yeah, it's just about measuring and spacing it and just seeing as you progress what it's going to look like. This one not quite long enough for there. Let's see, I've got one that's slightly wider, so I'll just stick that one there, and then we'll do another here. I don't know if you can hear my kids, but they're out in the kitchen, which is not too far from my craft room. And they were just having a ball. So actually, I think I'm going to end it with this. And then another. I'm going to need, yeah, I need just a little bit of adhesive on this. I'm going to move my Bermuda Bay out of the way. Run a little bit more adhesive. There we go. All right. Oh, shoot. Put that on the wrong side. Not a big deal. All right. And there we go. So our square is done, but now we just need to go and trim it up a little bit. So, oh, shoot. It's just the kind of day it's been. Adhesive everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to go lift this up carefully so this little tiny corner piece does not want to stay stuck. There we go. We'll just turn it the other way. And then I'm just going to grab a pair of scissors, world's smallest scissors, and I'm just going to trim. You can use your paper trimmer as well to do the same job. I just like to have one clean edge when I trim so that I have something to line up against. So I'm going to do it paper side down so that I can just line it up on the edge and then just trim, push all the little bits out of the way, line it up on the 4-inch line, and just trim away all the little excess bits. Okay, so now we have some choices to make. So we've got our square. It's completely finished. You can cut it diagonally. You can go diagonally this way, but I'm actually going to cut it diagonally both ways. And then I'm going to show you some options that you have when you're creating your card. So I'm just going to do this first. So you just have to line up corner to corner into along the cutting guide. Make sure that the corners are even and then push and go. So there's our two squares or triangles, and you can place it on your card just like this, and then do a sentiment or a label or a whatever along the center. But I don't know, I've always loved triangles, and usually when I make a quilt, triangles are what I'm drawn to. So I kind of had this idea in my head that I wanted to do corner to corner triangles, but so they're slightly askew because this isn't a perfect, because I started on an angle. So what I'm going to do is this, and then you can leave it just exactly the way that it is right now, or this is how I'm going to finish my card. Okay, so I'm going to do corner to corner first. I'm going to do this guy, and I'm going to. I just had a pack of dimensionals. Where did they go? There we go. I'm just going to pop this guy up. Line up of each triangle. It's going to kind of over a little bit. And I just really love the scrappy look of this. It really reminds me of a scrappy quilt. After I get it stuck to my fingers, I'm going to line up the edges first so that they're symmetrical, and then I'm just going to press it down and then add the dimensionals onto the other one. Whoops, 1, 2, 3. This see that it's got a little bit of dimension tuck, and to your cards, or you can go ahead as high as you really wanted to. So, and this was cut out with the dies that come in the button. I don't usually stamp the inside of my card, but I am going to do that today. And I'm going to do color up really nicely. Blood dimensionals, a die cut shape. Do that yet? I might. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you're notified for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic night.